Alright, so in the past 9 years, throughout those years, I've been told that, certain things are really hard, and I actually found those things not that hard, but I've also been told that certain things are easy, and this is how you do it, and I've found it really hard. One of those things that people are saying, yeah, you can do it, and this is how you do it, is wheeling. Now, I have been riding for 9 years or so, and I've never picked up the front wheel off the ground, not even a centimeter. Having said that, I have on my dirt bike accidentally going too fast over a hill and looped it, so I have picked up a dirt bike front wheel off the ground. But like on a street bike, I've never been able to pick up the front wheel. Now, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people watching with like condescending comments and saying, oh, how can you not be able to wheelie? What's wrong with you? You can't ride, this and that. But I want to say, for one, a lot of it has to do with motivation. So in the last 9 years, I think I've tried like 3 times. Like, you watch a video and you're like, oh yeah, that looks, you watch a video that motivates you, and they give you tips, and it's like, oh, okay. And I watched one recently, and I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds easy, this and that. Go out to try, cannot do it. Cannot pick up the front wheel. I'm sure that if I put my mind to it, and I had the motivation of maybe these people who can do it, where they're more motivated, maybe they're in their late teens or in their 20s, and the wheeling is the must. They must show their dominance by wheeling, and they spend hours and hours and hours and hours practicing. But for me, like, I started riding when I was like in my mid-30s age, and it wasn't the first thing I thought of wanting to learn. So anyway, welcome to this channel. Welcome to my channel where we talk about bikes and Bible verses. As usual, we're going to have a Bible verse at the end. I'm going to give you a few reasons why I can't do a wheelie, why I'm not motivated to do one. The first reason is I feel like it's hurting the bike. You go out and someone says, oh yeah, you just rev it up a bit and you pop the clutch, and or even a power wheelie where you chop the throttle and then give the throttle. And I was trying that, and I was going, and I think that a lot of the problem is this bike that I'm on now, or the other bikes. I've ridden sports bikes most of the time, and I don't think sport bike are the ones that you should learn on. That's just my opinion. They've got plenty of power, which is part of the problem, because it'll just loop, right? If you don't control that power, it'll just escape from under you, throw you off. The bike will go tumbling down. So it's not about the power. And I'm sure that if I'm motivated, there's probably other people watching who are saying, look, I can help you, I can teach you how to do a wheelie. And I think if I changed my bike, if I had one that was a lot more upright, one that I could actually pull back on, and have more torque, but I feel like I'm screaming the bike and it's not picking up, and I'm screaming and pulling, and if I'm at like 8,000 RPM, right, first gear, and I'm pulling it and it's not coming an inch off the ground, chopping the throttle, then how much more do I have? Even that to me is too much. It's hurting the bike. There's people who just don't care about me. I feel like I've got a connection with the bike, and I don't want to hurt it. Like, I can kind of feel when it's getting hurt, and other people, maybe they don't have that sense. There's people who have borrowed my bike, and I know they've been practicing wheelies because my fork seals were leaking after they came back, and I can see the level on where the forks have dropped, and that's after putting new fork seals. And so people don't care. There are people out there who don't have this sense of feeling of their bike or respect of their bike. And of course, if there was another bike where it was easier, it was less dramatic, upright bikes, or just bikes, there are little kids on their little dirt bikes who can do wheelies, right? So it depends on that. So just screaming it to pick it up, especially sport bike, dumping it down because I don't know how to do it properly, and I've never done it. It's just something that I'm not motivated to do. So the second reason is it doesn't feel natural to me. Like I was saying, in the beginning of the video, maybe I don't know, like some people say they don't have the wheelie gene, but there are things that felt natural to me. Like I said, there was I was told when I started riding trail braking, and it was really hard and really advanced, and to be honest, I actually found that really natural. I didn't even, before even hearing about it, I was kind of already doing it, and then when I learnt about it, I was, got it down to a perfection, and it's natural to me. And other things like, counter steering. You got people riding 10, 20 years who still go wide around corners because they don't understand the concept. They haven't trained themselves about counter steering, and I value those things because they make me a better rider. There are some people who ride around who are completely oblivious to what is going on around them, what the dangers are, what the patterns are. And also related to that is, like, it gives you an unsafe mindset, because like wheeling is actually quite addictive. So like I feel like if I do it and I sort of slowly start getting better at it, you'll be addicted to it, and so you won't be focused on riding safely. You won't be focused on the skills that make you a good rider. You're just focused on trying to perfect this skill of doing wheelies all the time. And you end up just doing it more often. That's one of the reasons why I didn't really want to do it. I didn't want to learn how to do it, because I'll probably find myself always trying to do it, like any chance I get, and that's where the real danger is. Because there's times you see people that are doing it like on the highway, and they put it down at a slightly wrong angle, and then they get a tank slapper and things like that. So it's kind of like, in itself, it's dangerous, of course, because of this surge of power which you need to pick the front off the ground, and then just the physics of it. You need the most power to pick it up, but then once it's already up, you don't need much power to keep it up, and so there's that. If you can easily loop it because you overshoot trying to just get it off the ground. Mind you, I've picked up the back end, the on hard braking. I had no problem with that. It's only the front end that I can't. And you might say, well, why am I riding a sport bike, ride a slower bike? Well, other bikes are too slow for me. I am riding to the capacity of these bikes because I can feel the speed, right? I can feel the speed, but it doesn't pick up the front wheel. Like I had my Triumph before, Street Triple, the full power one. That was too slow for me. And so I guess people shouldn't judge and say, well, why are you riding a sport bike if you don't want to wheelie, if you don't want to ride fast? I can ride fast. I can ride around corners, I can brake hard, I can accelerate hard. I just can't pick up the front. When you're focusing on having the skills to ride properly and having roadcraft skills, it gives you more chance to actually make it home safely. And the more you make it home safely, the more you get another chance to ride. So the safer you ride, the more you actually get to ride. And that's a big motivation for me. I just want to keep riding. I don't want to not get home safely and not ride. Even crashing and not riding for 6 months, that's too much for me. I want to ride all the time. And so the third reason why I'm not motivated to do wheelies is I'm not sure it actually contributes to the riding skills as a whole. I know a lot of people say, it gives you throttle control. I think there's a lot of other ways you can practice throttle control. There's a lot more to wheelies than just the throttle control. There's just having the balance, just the physique, and the feel of the bike to pick up the bike and to put it down. And look, it's a skill. I'm not downplaying. It is a skill that needs to be worked on. A lot of people struggle with it, and I don't know. Am I the only person? I actually put this out on a forum once, and I've realized that there are a lot of people who've been riding for 10, 20 years, never picked up the front wheel. They're not interested, right? It's a different niche, and I think it's not necessary really to complete the whole riding experience. You can have a lot of enjoyment. You can ride well. You can ride fast, you can be good on the twisties, you can brake hard, know how to brake and not skid and things like that, know how to do like progressive braking, and just the whole riding experience. And if you don't have the physique or the motivation or the skill to wheelie, I don't think you're really missing out on that much. I don't see as much of a benefit. Maybe a little bit, maybe because you're sort of, hanging onto the bike in different ways. Maybe it gives you more of a feel of the bike in that sense. But for me, the kind of feels like you're hurting the bike trying to learn. I just not motivated. But like I said, maybe my next bike I'll be more motivated. I'll get one that's more easier and oriented towards doing wheelies, and who knows, maybe I'll be. So I just want to end with a Bible verse, and that's in Romans 1 and 2. And the Bible is telling us that we need to offer our bodies as living sacrifices, because when we do that, it's holy and pleasing to God, and that's how we worship God. So we sacrifice. I'm not saying we do self-destructing things as sacrifices, but we sacrifice the sinful things of the world. The world is like full of wrong things, sinful things, immorality and greed and hatred, and then it says, like and it says in verse 2, it says, don't conform to the patterns of the world, but be transformed. So we need to be different. We shouldn't conform. The world is making everything that is evil seem normal. Like, I was just reading something yesterday, and it was talking about, and I've read this before when I was at uni as well. It's talking about like how wars have actually, created a lot of innovation, and so humans are able to innovate, but they're only motivated to do so in times of war, and that's how they come up with new technologies. Like Hitler, came up with like microchips and things like that. A lot of inventions from the war, and the war did progress mankind technologically, but the motivation of doing that so was like destruction, and that's the pattern of the world. And there's a lot of things the world thinks is okay and good, but the Bible's saying that we shouldn't conform to the patterns of the world. We shouldn't conform to whatever the world says it's good, but we should be transformed, and then we will be able to test and approve what God's will is. See, a lot of people can't make a sound judgment on God's will. So anyway, that's all I've got today. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching this. If you have, please hit the like button. If you have any comments, if you've never wheelied before, please comment. If you like my content in general, please subscribe. Take it easy and ride safe.